My family, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so very much for tapping back in with your boy. I'm truly grateful. I enjoy doing these videos. I really do. So hopefully you guys enjoy watching them as much as I enjoy recording and editing and all that fun stuff. So it's part of the grind. It's part of the grind. If you want something bad enough, it's not supposed to be easy. And testing yourself is always the fun part. Always pushing yourself and seeing how far you can go in life, to me, is always the fun part. So if you're watching this video, push yourself. Push yourself. Dare yourself to be great. Impossible only means I'm possible. Whatever outlandish dream that you thought was crazy, stick with it and ride it out. You can do anything that you want to. So I just felt the need to say that, you know what I mean? But we're gonna be taking a dive, y'all. We're gonna be taking a dive into Filip Hrgovic against Joyce that went down in Manchester. I want to say Manchester this past weekend. So before we take a dive into that, you already know we got to do the important stuff. We're powered by our good friends, the homies, DNS Cleaning. So if you're Hampton Roads, Virginia area, 7 cities, and you need cleaners, those are the people that you want to tap into, from deep cleans to if you have rental properties, if you have like a office or a workspace, those are the best. Those are the guys that you want to reach out to. So you can reach out to me. I can get you all the information, or you can reach out to them yourself. They're on Instagram and they're on Facebook also. So tap in with them and they can get you straight. Next, hey, we got sponsorship opportunities. As I always say, we're open for business. We're always open to talk business. So feel free to email us. Feel free to shoot us a message on any of our platforms, and we can talk. We can definitely talk. But yeah, let's get down to it. We got all that other stuff out the way. Before we dive into the actual fight, going into the fight, in the preview video, we said that this was an important fight, y'all, because we have Joyce, who's coming off multiple losses, right? He's coming off 2 losses to Zhilei Zhang, and he's also coming off the Derek Chisora loss. So this was an important fight for him. Also, his age, we mentioned that too, y'all. Don't forget him being 39 years old. So those were some of the reasons why we said Joyce was in a situation where he needed a win. Filip Hrgovic, we said he needed a win. Even though he's a little younger than Joyce, he's coming off a loss to, even though he's a champion, he's coming off a loss to Daniel Dubois. So both guys are coming off losses, and, going into the fight, this was a must win. Obviously both guys, being older, want to be in a position where they can start working themselves back to a world title fight. And this fight was a starting block, I guess you can say, for both gentlemen. And this was an entertaining fight. I mean, you had 2 guys that were dishing punishment. You had 2 guys that were taking punishment. Both guys landed effective punches, and both guys took effective punches. So this was a very fan-friendly fight from start to finish. I honestly thought in that first round, I thought Hrgovic was going to take him out of there, but I noticed that Hrgovic started to slow down pretty fast in the fight. And once I noticed that this was going to be a long night for both men, because one thing we know about Joyce is if you tire out early in the fight, Joyce is just going to put the pace on you. And if you can't, I don't care if people say he's slow or not. If you can't make him any kind of slower, he's just going to keep walking you down. And I don't care if you slow or fast, having somebody walk you down is not fun. And I think Hrgovic tired out pretty early, and that's what led to Joyce putting his foot on the gas, really a good part of the fight. So like I said, it was a very fan-friendly fight. It was a very entertaining fight. Filip Hrgovic did end up getting the unanimous decision win. However, the scorecards were, a little crazy. But like I said, Joyce, he did press forward, but it was Hrgovic that did end up getting the win. So now we ask ourselves, what's next? Okay, so we look at Joyce. It's a tough spot. We got to be real with ourselves here now, y'all. Joyce is in a tough spot. Now we're still talking about multiple losses. He's 16-4 now, I want to say. He's 39 years old. He'll be 40 soon. So those things aren't your friend in boxing right now. I just started the video saying that anything is possible. So I don't want to sit here and count him out completely, right? Because that would be completely going against what I said in the very beginning of the video, that anything is possible. But with that loss, this really, really, really puts Joe Joyce in a tough spot. It really does. Now we ask ourselves, okay, who's next for Joe Joyce? You know, it has to be a fight. If he's going to continue to fight, and during the post fight, he did make the reference that he wants to continue fighting. So it has to be a fight that will allow him to get his confidence back, so that way he can maybe start working towards meaningful fights. So, but it's tough. It's tough coming off that loss. At least it's someone the world level of Hrgovic. Now we might see him just on a British level, trying to build his name back up, and we'll see where it takes him. But it's tough, because when you talk about his age, 39 and 40 is very old in boxing. Even though it's young in life, it's old in boxing. So he has to have a couple things work in his favor now if we're talking about meaningful fights. And he takes a lot of punishment too. That worries me a lot. It does, about Joe Joyce. So I certainly hope all positive things are in the line for Joe Joyce next. So we will see. We'll keep you updated on, you know, what's next for the juggernaut, and only time will tell. You know, if we pivot and we look at the winner, Filip Hrgovic, he's in a better spot, obviously, with the win. He is a little younger than Joe Joyce. That works in his favor too. But it's a question that I have is, how far does Filip Hrgovic go? What's next for Filip Hrgovic? Because one thing we have to ask ourselves is, if he runs into the wrong opponent, is he going to suffer another setback also? Because even though he won this fight, he was hit quite a bit. So now you say, okay, there's some of these young heavyweights that are really coming up that are a lot faster than Joe Joyce. I'll just throw a name out: Moses Atama. Fabio Wardley's getting ready to fight Jarrell Miller. So if we take one of those guys, and if you're getting hit by some of the things you're getting hit with by Joe Joyce, what happens if you have a more meaningful fight and you're staring across someone that's maybe a little faster and a little stronger than Joe Joyce, who is very strong, don't get me wrong, but what happens if you run into those same punches from those other heavyweights? So that's what I asked myself with this victory over Filip Hrgovic. He deserves the victory. I don't want to take that away from him, but I'm always looking at what's next, because the end goal is to become heavyweight champion. So, but like we said in the beginning, though, this fight was a starting block for both guys. So Filip Hrgovic he's out he's out of the blocks now. So we'll see what path his race is to maybe a world title or meaningful fights. But this win over Joe Joyce, it was a step in the right direction. So stay locked in. You know, only time will tell. Only time will tell. We'll keep the channels updated as far as what's next for both guys, for Filip Hrgovic and Joe Joyce, you know, and we'll see. But thank you all so much for tapping into the channel. I feel like y'all might get mad at me for saying I appreciate y'all, because I say it so much, but I'm grateful. You know, I'm truly grateful for you all. So until next time, for me, but a homie Sugar Ray, we'll catch y'all. Peace.